Hey, Brewer fans, welcome to Brew Crew Review Podcast number 10. The Brewers at the beginning of the week had a 8-game winning streak snapped when they went down to Wrigley Field. So we'll discuss that on this show. With me today is Scott, Vince, and I know Chad was invited. Hey, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Craig, I did hear back from Chad. He told me that he's too hungover to participate in today's broadcast. He said he thinks the West Dallas will understand. He's too hungover. Yep.
So Scott hungover too, but he always powers through every week. I don't know. Chad's got to suck it up.
Yeah, he just woke up. He said, we're taping this at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, but he just woke up. He said he's very hungover. He also informed me that he did not watch the last 3 days of Brewers baseball.
I hope you didn't break the news.
Well, yeah. I assume everyone in Wisconsin's hungover on a Sunday night. What's the big deal? I don't understand what the issue is, but anyway.
Yeah, actually, our podcast demographics are of the 5 people that listen, 4 of them are hungover at any given time. So.
Yeah, and I said Scott does the show drunk every week. It doesn't, you're fine.
Yeah, what do you want?
Maybe we should rename. Yeah. Maybe we should rename the show Bloody Mary or something. I mean, help our fans hear their hangovers.
Let's do a poll. Yeah, we'll do a poll amongst our fans on Twitter this week. Our intern can set that up. So.
Well, that's the other thing. We're down to 20 followers on Twitter, so our polls, I mean, they can skew pretty far. They're not super accurate with that limited number. We should probably get more people to sign up for that, but whatever.
We could probably pull the 100% of our Twitter followers fairly easily, by emailing them because we know them and have their email addresses.
I could probably personally call them and make the poll done by the end of the show.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah, yeah. Chad may be the hardest one to get a hold of all of our Twitter followers.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know that he follows us on Twitter. I'm not sure.
Well, it was a good run.
Well, Craig, do you want to recap this great Wisconsin sports weekend for us?
Yeah. No, just let's see. The Brewers, they swept the Royals during this last week. That was awesome. Thank you, Ned Yost. Let's see. After that, though, things took a little bit of a turn for worse. Went down to Wrigley, and we scored 2 runs in 4 games. Cubs only scored 9 runs in 4 games themselves, and they swept us. I'm wondering how many 4-game sweeps have ever occurred where the sweeping team has only scored 9 runs, but I don't know. We'll dig into that. Yeah,
we'll have our intern looking at that on Baseball Reference, one of our sponsors, baseballreference.com.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet it was in the dead ball era.
Yeah, that's a great point, though, Craig. It probably has been a long time. I mean, yeah, what did we get, 2 hits today, guys? I think we were 2 hits today.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 8 games against the Cubs this year, we've won 1 game. We've been shut out 5 times.
We're what, 1-7?
Yeah. That's good, Scott. I believe that's accurate.
Wow.
Another unfortunate stat that came out of this weekend is that the Brewers are now 1-7 against the Cubs overall in the season series, going 1-3 against the Cubs at Miller Park, and 0-4 against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. So our first 2 head-to-head matchups against the division rival Chicago Cubs have not gone the direction that the Brewers wanted them to go in this season, unfortunately.
So on a positive note, we did not get swept in both series against the Cubs this year, so hang our hat on that. And any observations, you guys, for the Brewers this week, as they're now in 4th place in the NL Central?
I actually have one positive thought that is at least something. I think our starting pitching has actually been pretty good. I mean, we're looking at games, and Craig, you mentioned earlier, the Cubs did not score much against our starters or our relievers for that matter as well. So at least our starting pitching has kept us in the game. So you'd have to think that this offense, which is supposed to be fairly well stacked going into the year, at least, is going to come around at some point. But I'm at least given a little optimism from our starting pitching over the past couple of weeks. It's been outstanding.
Yeah, that's probably just about the lone takeaway you could have. I mean, our starting pitching, our bullpen has still been great. I guess, last week when we taped, we were the first place Milwaukee Brewers. I guess if there's a positive thing, we are currently in fourth place, but we are not in last. Thank you, and stay classy, Cincinnati.
And thank you, Ryan Scooter Gannett down there. But yeah, it's good. We're not in the basement, so it's all coming together.
And this week we do play the Reds and the Pirates 3 times, so.
Yep, that's true.
That's some more positive news, hopefully.
Yeah, guys, I really just don't know what to make of this Brewer team because so far we have absolutely dominated the scrubs and we have gotten destroyed by good teams. So, I mean, unfortunately, that means you're probably a 500 team. But I guess I don't know. But it's really hard to say like how good or how bad this team is just because, yeah, I mean, there's no middle ground, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like one extreme or the other. We start the year off with a sweep against the lowly San Diego Padres. We go on a run and win, 8 games in a row. I was following on Twitter for your Twitter post there, Scott, but against the likes of the Royals and the Reds and the Marlins. And then, yeah, like you pointed out, we get absolutely destroyed by the Cubs. We've got a losing record on the year against the Cardinals. The other thing that's pertinent is that we're really losing in the division. The 1-7 against the Cubs. I know we haven't played especially well against the Cardinals, so I guess we're going to have to keep beating up on teams like the Reds, and we'll see how we fare against the Pirates. But it's been a very topsy-turvy first 3.5 weeks of the season.
And I mean, what's wrong with? I know that finally Kane, Yelich, and Braun seem to be healthy enough to be the 1, 2, and 3 hitters at the top of our lineup, which all great players. Even with that being said, we're just not scoring 2 runs in 4 games in Wrigley. I mean, the wind wasn't blowing in every day. So what's wrong with our offense? And what do you think any changes need to happen to the lineup, to personnel, our hitting coach? Does council have to do anything? Does a shakeup need to happen? Like, what's wrong with our offense?
Well, I mean, I don't know that our offense is much different than it was a week and a half ago when we were firing on all cylinders. So I don't know. I tend not to want to make drastic changes, by firing a hitting coach or something a couple of weeks into a new season. But I really am saying I do think we have a real weakness on our bench. I think that our bench players who unfortunately have been seeing a lot of playing time this year because of injuries are really subpar. I think that Hernan Perez is not as good of a hitter this year as he was in the last couple of seasons, and I think that Eric Sogard has done absolutely nothing off the bench. We've got other guys in the lineup every day like Garcia, who's been really bad at offense this year as well, and you can afford to have a guy or two like that in the lineup who can make up for it with really good defense, which Garcia does. So I'm not as worried about his position, but I am worried about our bench besides Jesus Aguilar.
Scott, do you have any thoughts on the offense?
No, it's rough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like we're always just one hit away from, driving in that run or whatever it is. Fundamentally, there's just I just don't know what's going on. I mean, it seems like, we're getting our share of striking out when we're up, but so is just about every other team. I mean, that's kind of just the way of the game now. But I guess oh man, this sounds so bad, but I would like to see the top of our order occasionally, just to keep people honest, when they're shifting, don't be afraid to drop a bunt down the line and just take the easy signal. Even if it's a guy like Shaw, I'd like to see him do that once in a while. Even I know he tried a couple times, but I don't know. It's just we're just not getting it done offensively. It seems like we just left our bats in Kansas City. So I don't know.
One other thing, too, that we should point out here quick, because it's been since our last taping, is the injury to Eric Thames, which is going to be a blow to our offense. You'd like to think that Aguiar and Braun can cover, up for that offensive loss at first base. But Thames really, was hitting well, again, Mr. April, this season, like he was in 2017. And I think that our offense is missing him already just in this series against the Cubs, of which he missed all 4 games after playing in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's a great point, Vince. After we were unable to offload Domingo Santana in trade this offseason, I think Brewer fans rationalized that, we have great outfield and first base depth now, and by the way, Braun says he'll play first, so we're good to go, and we'll just not play Thames and Aguilar hardly at all, and we're good. We have nice depth. Well, we've had to basically use up all that depth already, but I think Brewer fans kind of downplay the importance of Eric Thames' power bat in our lineup. Obviously, both last April and this April were his best 2 months as a Brewer, but by far. But he is kind of a left-handed bat. I think that's essential to our lineup. And it's even if he's just a first base platoon, with it being Braun or Aguilar or whatever, I think we definitely need him against right-handers, which are the majority of the games. And having him out now, we don't have a platoon situation at first now. So Braun's going to get some starts there, Aguilar's going to get some starts there. We'll also insert Santana back in the lineup almost every day. And he, unfortunately, is showing he's crashing back down to earth a little bit, and he's not going to have he'll consistently put up numbers like he did last year throughout his career. It's probably one of the reasons other teams weren't really that interested in trading for him, unfortunately. So there's that, and I think our team overall offense just is weaker with Santana in it, even over the guys like Aguilar, who was in danger of getting cut, and Thames, who everyone kind of wrote off. So I guess that's my take on it.
I think that's really, really a good take, Craig. Thames is a guy who, even when he's not hitting a ton, he's a guy that opposing pitchers at least have to either pitch around or have to be concerned about. He can take a walk. He can hit for gap power. He was certainly valuable to our team last year, even in other months besides April and May.
Yeah, if you look at our offense statistically, we're basically in the 20s out of 32, like in just about every major statistical offensive category. And the one, I guess, that's kind of standing out is we're just not hitting overall. Like our team batting average now is 236. Yikes! And not only that, but we're just not getting. We're up there in homers. That's fine, but we're not getting any doubles or triples. And this is a team that's fairly fast, especially at the top of the order. So to not be able to get those extra base hits, it makes it a lot harder to string singles together to get those runs. You don't get the big inning. And unfortunately, that's kind of what we've seen the last few days. As far as the Thames injury, it's going to be out now for, I'm going to guess probably 2 months. But I don't think we're going to hurry him back or anything like that. But there's no real good solution to get a good left-handed power bat. The closest thing that we have is if we ever decide to bring him up is the G-Man Choi at first. And then we have not done that yet. So I'm not sure what the plan is. I guess the plan is giving Braun more at-bats at first, but we're losing that left-handed bat.
Yeah, we've also lost out by waiting a bit to pick up any other sort of power hitting first base types that were off the market. Guys like Adam Lind is now re-signed with the Yankees. Mark Reynolds is signed with the Nationals. The market is pretty well tapped, I think, at this point. Chris Carter, I believe, is in the minor leagues with the Angels still. So it's kind of like who we have in G-Man Choi as a potential call-up. I guess that's what we're working with this year.
Well, I know that the Stearns opening day in San Diego roster, the first game of the season, it started with a crazy roster, and he retained, just so we didn't lose him, 5 first basemen on the opening day roster. We were like, what the heck is going on? And now, kind of in hindsight, it looks like, well, it's a good decision because we still have a little bit of depth even with Thames down. It was like you said, G-Man Choi at AAA if we need it, wanted or, bring him up. It almost seems like we need that type of, move, almost like a shot in the arm. I mean, I'm not usually an advocate of just random crazy moves to try to get a shot in the arm, but after that 4-game set against the Cubs, I mean, we got swept by the Cubs, and their 2 best players, Bryant and Rizzo, only had 1 hit in all 4 games combined. Seriously? Are their pitchers that good when we're getting dominated by Tyler Chatwood? I just don't understand it. So something needs to change. I don't know if some lineups shuffling, a shot in the arm by bringing up someone like Troy, or different philosophy, like Scott says, by just trying to do anything you can to get on base. I mean, take more pitches. I don't know. I mean, even VR today, we're down 2 runs. We have a guy on base late in the game, and he's got a 2-0 count. And, he instead of taking a pitch to try to get another runner on base, maybe to get the tying run on base, get a walk, he grounds into a double play on the next pitch, on a 2-0 pitch. I mean, it's just frustrating. Obviously, you can hear it in our voices, I guess. And this obviously comes the complete opposite of coming from a week ago at this time. The Brewers were riding a 6-game winning streak that turned into an 8-game at the time. That was all great, and that leaves us at this point at least over 500. But like Scott pointed out, we've got to find a way to beat these good teams, especially the in-division teams, like Vince pointed out. If we can't beat the Cardinals and Cubs, our best hope is 3rd place in the division, and that's not going to be a wild card spot. So we might be able to pretend that we're still in the wild card race all year if we want to, but the reality is that do we want to be that middle of the run team that, doesn't make the playoffs but just stays in contention every year, but then doesn't actually ever get any higher draft picks, and we don't get, I don't know, let's just hope that this is just another year to check out what we have and give a lot of our young players some opportunity throughout the year. But I just think overall, I wanted to say our rotation didn't have what it takes, especially when you stack them up against the Cubs rotation. But now it's even looking like our offense, which I thought was going to be our strong point, is problematic. And that wasn't the case all the second half of last year. So those problems have not been solved by just inserting Cannon and Yelich into our lineup. There's something else going on, and that's why it kind of leads me back to maybe there's a philosophy or a hitting coach issue or something. It's kind of befuddling to me.
Yeah, you may be right on that, Craig. It's tough to tell from the outside with none of us, actually having press passes to be in the clubhouse. But I do think that, right now it's like guys like Jet Bandy and Eric Sogard almost seem like guaranteed outs every time that they step to the plate. I can't say that about VR yet. His batting average is still pretty decent this year, but for sure for those 2 guys, Bandy and Sogard, and I guess Perez as well, it just seems like it's just a sure thing that they're going to somehow end any type of rally that we have or not get on base. It just seems like it's been every game this year that you can depend upon those 3 guys specifically to fail. I know that, we talked last week, Jet Bandy's probably not on this team anymore as soon as Stephen Vogt comes back from injury. And as far as I'm concerned, we may want to start to shake up that core guys. We have someone off the bench. I think that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
You could add Pena and Arcia to the list of bats, the growing list of people that aren't getting it done with the bat right now. It's a pretty long list, and when half your lineup's not hitting, you're going to score 2 runs in 4 games. So unfortunately, that's how baseball.
Yeah, and like Craig pointed out, Santana has been incredibly disappointing this year as well. And you hope that a guy that hit 30 some bombs last year is going to be able to come back, but I don't know. We're a month now, almost a month into the season, and we're still waiting on it.
And maybe he's just the type of guy that needs consistent at-bats to put up those numbers, unfortunately. And now with our roster makeup, we can't guarantee he's going to be in the lineup every day because Council's got to get these guys at-bats so the other guys can stay fresh or whatnot. And you mentioned, obviously, Pena's back from the DL and not exactly hitting right off the bat. But I think to have him and Vogt should be back within 2 weeks, I believe. To have them back as a catching tandem, I think will be a little bit of a boost to the offense, hopefully, and even having Vogt's left-handed catching option back in there. So I would think maybe because remedy for our offensive woes right now is getting Vogt back and in the lineup against right-handers, and also consider maybe bringing up G-Man Choi and getting him some at-bats in some of the games we would have gotten Thames at-bats because he's left-handed as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of right-handed pitchers in the league, much more than left-handers. So, having those left-handed bats can kind of be valuable, when you're making up a roster, and it really does help the offense overall, I think. So, I'm a big proponent of that. But other than that, I guess for positives, that the pitching has been, they've been keeping us in games. Zach Davies pitched fairly well, and Chase Anderson's been pitching well, so those guys are kind of at expectations. And I would have to say even Julio Chastain has pitched better than I expected. And even Brent Suter did keep us in games. So, and Junior Guerra, Junior Guerra has been
lights out.
Yeah, totally. Weren't expecting that. So, and then you look at guys that we were thinking of signing as free agents, like Alex Cobb is getting blown up in every single start. So those guys that are filling our fourth and fifth spots, we're doing a more than adequate job than any free agent we would have signed. However, now we're tinkering with our rotation. I'm not too happy about that either.
Well, Craig, I know that you're a big Wade Miley fan, but it is kind of odd that we're going to mess with the one thing that's been going really well for the team, which is our pitching. Even though you're a big Miley guy, I think that maybe it would have been better just to let him test free agency or see if he could get a better deal elsewhere, and if not, just keep him stashed in the minor leagues. Brent Suter, he's had like one bad inning per start, but other than that, he's been fairly solid. I know he gave up a couple runs to the Cubs a few days ago, but overall he kept us in the game every time he's gone out there. So it's an interesting move to bring in Miley.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a great baseball player, Wade Miley. I mean, I guess once we do make the playoffs later in the years, I'm sure he'll be in the division series. He'll probably be our game 1 and game 4 starters. It's so amazing. So you guys can look forward to that.
Every time Mark Conte and throw him in center field too while we're at it.
Man.
The other thing, even in Knable's absence, the bullpen just up and down, except not you, Oliver Drake, unfortunately. Everyone else in the bullpen's been pretty great, actually, throughout our 8-game winning streak. I mean, no complaints even about 4 games against the Cubs. I mean, they didn't, get any games out of hand. Like I said, the entire pitching staff only allowed 9 runs against the Cubs in 4 games. That's pretty darn good. However, you expect to win some of those, so I just don't, I'm completely miffed.
Yeah, the back end of our bullpen has been outstanding. I mean, Jeremy Jeffers has been incredible this entire season. Jacob Barnes, Taylor Williams, everybody has thrown really well out there. Josh Hader, of course. Dan Jennings was a solid pickup. Yeah, Dan Jennings has been great. Everybody outside of, as you pointed out, Oliver Drake has been outstanding from the bullpen. It'll be interesting to see what move we actually do make for I'm going to ask you guys what move we do make for Miley when he comes up this week. I know that they said that Suter's going to go to the bullpen for right now. Miley will slide then into the rotation and take Suter's spot as the number 5. So you guys think that it's going to be Drake that goes out of the guys in the pen, or what move do you expect the Brewers to make? Maybe somebody with more options? I'm not sure. You guys have any guesses?
I would have to unfortunately guess that because Brandon Woodruff was kind of inserted in that long swingman type role that now Suter will be given. There's really we don't need 2 guys like that. So unfortunately, I think he's going to go down. Obviously, he's got options left this year, but I mean, he's a young pitcher we're supposed to be getting a good gauge on. Keep shuttling him back and forth every couple of weeks in the majors and the minors. I mean, that's not necessarily a plan for success, recipes for success for Brandon Woodruff alone. Again, that's probably what's going to happen, though. Unfortunately, I mean, my guess or my hopes, I shouldn't say hopes, but my guess is Wade Miley will last as a Brewer maybe like 3 starts, and then we'll bring Woodruff back permanently and insert him as the 5th man, and then just leave him there to get some major league innings throughout the rest of the year. And if Junior Guerra holds up, great. And if he doesn't hold up, then maybe put Suter back into his spot or something. But beyond that, everything. And then when Jimmy Nelson gets back, we have just good problems to have as far as how our rotation will shake up. But that's we got to get by and stay above float. Stay afloat in the division and try to stay above 500 for as long as we possibly can until like Knable and Nelson gets back, until our offense starts clicking, maybe.
Yeah, no, you might be right about the Woodruff call there, Craig. Scotty, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be him. We just brought him up. He's the low man on the totem pole, so yeah, I think it's got to be him. Like Craig said, there's no point in having two long men. You could potentially, if you were going to keep Woodruff, you'd give him a little bit better role and say, oh, you're going to work the 6th or 7th, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And if Guerra wasn't pitching well, they'd probably leave Woodruff up in his spot and send Guerra back out or something. I think since he's got an option this year, which is nice flexibility for us. But since he's pitching well, that doesn't make any sense. So,
well, we just talked last week or whatever about how we were going to get more at bats because we had a log jam at first, and of course someone got hurt. So maybe that'll happen with our pitching if we get lucky.
Yeah. It seems like a fairly common occurrence because Craig brought up who would step in at closer in the event that Corey Knable failed and then he was injured like that week as well. So it seems like, Craig, whoever you pick as a topic of conversation ends up getting hurt.
Well, let's not just call this my curse. We'll just call it the Brew Crew Review curse because I don't want to take full credit for these guys. But yeah, it does. That's unfortunate. But also, it makes me laugh about Drake because every episode we are gonna just have a tradition of talking about how Drake should be the next person cut from the roster. But every single time there'll be something that just miraculously comes in and saves his role, and for some reason he'll possibly be the person most likely to still have a spot at the end of the year, and he will somehow avoid getting cut the entire year somehow.
Drake will be back. We'll be talking about him on the 2022 Brewers still. Podcast number 906.
If he was playing Survivor, he'd be playing a great game at this point for just staying alive.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And every time I look at the Billboard, because I'm a DJ, a Billboard Top 100, he's got all these hit songs at the top of the charts too. And Drake, I guess.
So going back to the Doug Melvin, Gord Ash days of having a Canadian on the team.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't understand it, but all right. I think we're about out of time, Scott. I don't know you and the fine people at the recording service we're using have the time we have left.
That's the intern. Maybe they know.
Yeah. I guess we only have a couple minutes, and I guess at this point, we should. We have much great things to talk about. That maybe
we should quick preview this week and do our quick guesses on the well, part of it's a homestand, so we got 3 games on the road in Cincinnati and 3 games in Pittsburgh. Not to cut you off, Scott, if you had something better to talk about, but we have probably 2 minutes. So,
guys, why don't we get into the Reds part of it, since that'll be, I know we're taping again on Wednesday night, but do you guys have any speculation on this Red series down in Cincinnati?
I suggest that we sweep the Reds. That's my suggestion.
I don't know. I said guesses, or meant to.
Oh. Unfortunately, I don't. My guess is that we don't sweep the Reds. But I'll say for the week we will go 3-3. Fortunately,
our inside source Tom Carter predicted 2 wins.
Again, just for future reference, our interns aren't that good at editing this show, so he wants to be known as anonymous and not. He said you could also say TC. You could just call him TC, because that way people wouldn't know his first or last name. But or just
okay. All right.
You can, however you want
to. Yeah. So Tom Carter, you can't say Tom Carter on the air. You say TC.
Yeah, he's fine with that, but just try not to say his first or last name. He's like, because otherwise he says people could, know who your source is. So he doesn't want to get. He works for the Brewers front office, I guess technically, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So we won't say Tom. So won't say Tom Carter's name on the air.
His line's fired. So
sorry, guys.
Well, it's supposed to be warm in Cincinnati this week. Actually, we might. There's a slight chance that we might even get rained out on Wednesday, and if we do, that'll be a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, hopefully.
No, Wade Miley won't get his start skip then, so won't be all bad.
Ugh. Well, yeah. Hopefully the bats warm up just like the weather does. We could certainly use it.
All right, what's your prediction for the week, Scott?
I'm going to be positive and say, 6 games, 4-2.
Vince?
I'm going to say 500 this week. Yeah, 500. I think we'll get 2 from Cincinnati, but only 1 from Pittsburgh.
All right, then by next week, Sunday night, we'll still be above 500. That means that's awesome. All right.
That's the goal always for us.
All right. Better times are coming. With that, go Brewers.
Go Brewers, guys. Stay classy with Dallas.
Stay classy.